Africans and Soviet soldiers contributed greatly to freeing the world from Nazism. And if the world had not been freed from Nazism, we don't know what would have happened.
U.S. suspends visa services in Niger as Africans face stricter visa scrutiny under Trump's administration. In a move that's sending shockwaves across West Africa, the United States has officially suspended all visa services in Niger. As tensions mount and diplomatic ties tighten, this policy shift is being seen by many as part of a broader pattern under the Trump administration, one that places African nations under heightened scrutiny. But what does this mean for Nigerians hoping to study, work, or reunite with family in the U.S.? And why are more African countries being swept into this crackdown? We're diving deep into the suspension of visa services in Niger, examining the policy, the politics, and the people caught in the middle. Background: U.S.-Niger relations and the visa suspension. The suspension of visa services in Niamey comes amid deteriorating relations between the U.S. and Niger, particularly following a military coup in July 2023 that ousted the country's elected government. Niger had been a key U.S. partner in counterterrorism efforts in the Sahel region, hosting nearly 1,000 U.S. military personnel until April 2024, when the ruling junta ordered their withdrawal. The U.S. completed its military pullout by September 2024, marking a significant setback for its regional security strategy. The diplomatic cable announcing the visa suspension, dated July 25, 2025, did not specify the precise reasons for the decision, but referenced unresolved issues with Niger's government, suggesting a link to the post-coup diplomatic fallout. The suspension affects a wide range of visa applicants, including students, professionals, and families seeking to travel to the U.S. for education, work, or reunification. While diplomatic and official visas remain largely unaffected, the indefinite halt on routine visa processing is expected to disrupt the plans of hundreds of Nigerian citizens. The U.S. Embassy in Niamey has notified affected individuals, but the lack of clarity on when services might resume has left many in limbo. Heightened scrutiny for Nigerian visa applicants. In addition to the suspension in Niamey, the U.S. State Department has directed consular officers at other embassies to exercise increased vigilance when processing visa applications from Nigerian nationals. The diplomatic cable highlights concerns about visa overstay rates, noting that 8% of visitor visa holders and 27% of student and exchange visa holders from Niger remain in the U.S. beyond their authorized period. To address this, consular officials have been instructed to reduce overstay rates by applying stricter vetting procedures, including enhanced social media screenings. This directive aligns with broader policies under the Trump administration, which has prioritized national security and public safety in its immigration framework. Since early 2025, the administration has intensified social media vetting for visa applicants, particularly targeting students and green card holders perceived to hold views counter to U.S. foreign policy interests. For instance, officials have flagged support for Palestinian causes or criticism of Israel's actions in Gaza as potential grounds for visa revocation, with thousands of visas reportedly revoked under these criteria. Broader visa restrictions across African nations. The visa suspension in Niger is part of a larger pattern of restrictive immigration policies targeting African countries. In July 2025, the U.S. imposed significant visa restrictions on Cameroon, Ethiopia, Ghana, and Nigeria, limiting most non-immigrant and non-diplomatic visas to single-entry permits valid for only 3 months. This is a sharp reduction from previous multi-entry visas valid for 2 years or more. Nigeria, Africa's most populous nation and a major source of international students to the U.S., has been particularly affected. The 2024 Open Doors report noted a 13.5% year-on-year increase in Nigerian students in the U.S., and these restrictions could disrupt educational exchanges and economic ties. In June 2025, the Trump administration issued a presidential proclamation suspending visa issuance to nationals of 19 countries, including 12 African nations such as Chad, Eritrea, Libya, Somalia, and Sudan. The proclamation, effective from June 9, 2025, cited national security concerns and inadequate information sharing by these countries as justifications. Additionally, a reported memo indicated that 26 African countries, including Nigeria, could face further visa bans as early as August 2025 if they fail to meet U.S. vetting and documentation standards. Implications for U.S.-Africa relations. The visa restrictions have sparked concerns about their broader implications for U.S.-Africa relations. Niger, once a key ally in the fight against insurgencies in the Sahel, has increasingly aligned with Russia since the 2023 coup. In 2025, Niger's Ministry of Energy signed a memorandum with Russia's state nuclear corporation, Rosatom, to cooperate on peaceful nuclear energy use, signaling a shift in geopolitical alignments. The U.S. visa suspension and heightened scrutiny may further alienate Niger's government and citizens, potentially pushing the country closer to alternative global partners like Russia or China. Nigeria's Foreign Minister, Yusuf Tuggar, warned that visa bans could jeopardize U.S. access to West Africa's vast natural resources, including oil, gas, tantalite, and uranium. The Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS, chaired by Nigeria, has expressed concerns about the economic fallout from reduced mobility and trade. Analysts such as Sarang Shadori from the Quincy Institute argue that these policies risk building walls between the U.S. and Africa, a region critical for its natural resources, growing markets, and talented populations. Social and economic impacts. The visa restrictions have significant social and economic consequences for African citizens. In Niger, the suspension of visa services limits opportunities for education, business, and family reunification in the U.S. Students, in particular, face barriers to accessing American universities, which could hinder Niger's human capital development. The high overstay rates cited by the U.S. reflect broader challenges, including limited economic opportunities and political instability in Niger, which drive migration. In Nigeria, the shift to single-entry, 3-month visas has raised fears of reduced access to the U.S., a key destination for the JAPA phenomenon, where young Nigerians seek better opportunities abroad. The restrictions could also reduce remittances, which contribute significantly to Nigeria's economy, approximately $24 billion annually from the U.S. alone. Critics argue that the policies disproportionately affect legitimate travelers, while failing to address the root causes of irregular migration, such as poverty and unemployment. Criticism and controversy. The Trump administration's immigration policies, including visa bans and a pause on new student visa interviews, have sparked criticism from African leaders, advocacy groups, and U.S. stakeholders. The African Union says these measures strain Africa-U.S. relations. In Nigeria, Bashir Ahmad views them as a reaction to Nigeria's global influence, while lawyer Godwin Oki attributes them to visa reciprocity issues. U.S. universities and groups like NAFSA criticize the policies for harming institutions reliant on international student revenue. Critics also argue the measures disproportionately target African and Muslim-majority countries, reviving accusations of xenophobia from Trump's 2020 travel bans. Looking ahead, the suspension of visa services in Niger and the broader tightening of visa policies signal a continuation of the Trump administration's hardline stance on immigration. While framed as a national security measure, these policies risk exacerbating tensions with African nations and disrupting economic and educational exchanges. For Nigerian and other African citizens, the increased scrutiny and reduced visa access underscore the challenges of navigating an increasingly restrictive U.S. immigration system. As the U.S. moves forward with its immigration agenda, the international community will be watching closely. The potential for further visa bans, as hinted in the June 2025 memo, could reshape migration patterns and diplomatic relations across the African continent. For now, affected individuals and governments must adapt to a new reality of limited mobility, while advocates call for policies that balance security concerns with the benefits of global cooperation and exchange. The suspension of visa services in Niger isn't just a bureaucratic action, it's a human story. For countless families and individuals, this policy has shattered dreams, postponed futures, and created uncertainty that stretches far beyond borders. Under the Trump administration, visa scrutiny became significantly tougher for many African nations, raising questions about equity, diplomacy, and international trust. What are your thoughts on this suspension and the broader visa policy shifts toward Africa? Drop your opinions in the comments. We want to hear your voice. If you found this video informative, give it a like, subscribe for more global news breakdowns, and don't forget to hit the bell so you never miss an update that matters. Thanks for watching, and remember, behind every headline, there's a human story.